शुक्लाम्बरधरं गणपतिमन्त्रं वाहेगुरु 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 जी बोलो वाहेगुरु 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 जी बोलो वाहेगुरु वाहेगुरु जी बोलो वाहेगुरु 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 जी बोलो सत्यनाम 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 जी सत्यनाम 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 जी बोलो सत्यनाम 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 जी सत्यनाम 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 जी बोलो कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो बुद्ध 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 जी बोलो 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 नित्य नित्य जपिए बुद्ध नाम जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए बुद्ध नाम जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए बुद्ध नाम जी नित्य नित्य जपिए बुद्ध नाम जी बोलो राम 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 जी बोलो राम 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 जी बोलो राम 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 जी राम 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 जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो
I'm
भवभयहरण वन्दित चरण
भवभयहरण वन्दित चरण
भवभयहरण वन्दित चरण
भवभयहरण वन्दित चरण
जय नाद जय माधव गौरी
जय राध जय माधव
जय राध जय माधव गौरी जय
राध जय माधव
मंगल चरण चलिमल दहन
मंगल चरण
मंगल चरण कलिमल दहन नारायण केशव नारायण केशव जय राध जय माधव गौरी जय जय राध जय माधव गौरी भव भय हरण वन्दित चरण भव भय हरण वन्दित चरण जय राध जय गौरी जय राध जय गौरी भव भय हरण मंगल चरण जय राध जय माधव गौरी जय राध जय
Offering my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved Mother Sai, dear sisters and brothers of America, loving Sairam to all of you. It is indeed a great blessing for me to share the love, affection, and grace of Bhagwan with all of you today morning. And many a times, what we see is that in our day-to-day life, to pause for a single moment, take a step back, and reflect on a journey so far, on who we are, speaks a great sense of spiritual journey that we all have covered. And it is indeed a blessing that all of us have gathered today at Bhagavan's lotus feet. Whatever I'll be sharing with you today, when Sister Aparna and Brother Bernie and other brothers and sisters, told me about the silent retreat. So I will be sharing with you probably a few of my experiences that Bhagavan was kind to teach me at his lotus feet. And this is a constant reminder to me as I'm sharing with you. This is a reminder to me of all those beautiful moments, of all those greatest truths that we learned at his feet. There's a beautiful story which Bhagavan used to share with us, in Trayi Vrindavan, whenever we used to gather this lotus feet. And I'll start with that story because it is so much relevant for all of us even today. And Bhagavan used to say that there was near the mountains, near the forest, a man is walking and he comes across the egg of an eagle, eagle bird lying on the ground. He picks up the eagle's egg and brings it to his home and farm. And he places the eagle's egg with the chicken and hens in the barn, that at the farm that he has got. And slowly, over a period of a few days, the egg hatches and the eaglet is born. And as the day passes, the small little eagle thinks it's a small chicken, a small part of the brooding hens, scratching the ground for insects, quackling all over the place, maybe trying to fly a few feet above the ground. And in this fashion, the eagle spends his entire life. As it's lying on his deathbed, suddenly he looks at the sky and he sees a majestic bird soaring up above the clouds. He's so fascinated by the sight of this bird, which is spread all its wing across and is gliding across the sky as though it owns the sky. And he says, Who is that bird up there? And one of the hens says, Oh, that's an eagle. He's the king of birds. And they can fly everywhere, anywhere. Unlike us, hens who are resigned to live and die on this ground. And with this, the eagle sheds its mortal coil. And Bhagwan says, you are no different from this eagle. You are in my image. You are my own form. And that's why he calls us Prema Sarupalara, Divyatma Sarupalara, embodiments of love, embodiments of the divinity. But the way we are engrossed in our lives, in this so-called attachment to this world, to this body, we all think that we are just mere hens about to live a life which is of inconsequence. And all the 86 years of the physical frame of the avatar, I think he was reminding us of the simple truth, whether be it the discourses, whether be it the tribe sessions, be it the interview sessions, be with the humorous anecdotes that he was to share so much, be with any interactions with the groups of devotees all across the world. There's a one single truth he was always wanting us to prevail upon, and that is that you are not who you think you are. This requires a tremendous amount of waking up. For me, the entire journey has been to wake up, because all of us are slumbering, all of us are asleep. And there's a beautiful sitcom which used to come many years back in the European television. I saw it sometime back, and the sitcom is very sweet. It shows a old father maybe 80 years old, and he goes and knocks on the door. He says, Johnny, wake up. It's already 8 p.m., 8 a.m. Please wake up, Johnny. Wake up. And from the room, a discontented voice comes, Papa, I don't want to wake up. I want to sleep. And he says, Johnny, you have to wake up. It is going to be 9 a.m. Please wake up. You have a lot of work to do. You have to go to school. And Johnny from inside the room says, I don't want to go to school. And his father says, why don't you want to go to school? So Johnny says, there are 3 reasons why I don't want to go to school. The first reason is that I find it extremely boring. The second is that the students tease me a lot. All the students, they tease me a lot. And the third thing is I hate school. And listening to this, his old father says, now I'll give you 3 good reasons why you should wake up. First is that it is your duty to go to the school. Number 2, you are 45 years old, Johnny. You better wake up. And the third reason, you are the headmaster of the school. You have to go to the school. So please wake up. Wake up and do what is supposed to be done. But Johnny refuses to wake up. Spirituality is nothing but an act of waking up. Waking up from what we thought was the reality. But it is very painful. Waking up is not an easy journey. When you are sleeping nice and cozy, in your own slumber, in your own dreams, there's nothing bothering. But the moment you wake up and you face the reality of life, that's pretty difficult. And we all are born in sleep. We go to school, we go to the graduation, go to the schooling, the colleges, in sleep. We get married. Also, we are sleeping. We get children, we raise them as parents in a sleep mode. We go to offices in a sleep mode. We live our entire life in a sleep mode, and we die also in sleep mode. So once in a while, you have a great master who comes in and says, wake up. Wake up, Bangaru, wake up. And if I look at Bhagwan's life, right from the day he was born, be it his own family members, be it his own school classmates, be the villagers of Puttaparthi or the village of Urvakunda, be it the initial devotees who used to flock to him in Puttaparthi, be it the students who studied at his lotus feet, or be the devotees who gathered at his feet. He was a wake-up call for all of us, all the 86 years of life in the physical frame, and he continues to do that. He's going to be a century old now. 100 years of waking up. So I asked myself, Vivekanand, when will you wake up? And this was the question I asked myself when I was a student way back in Vrindavan and Puttaparthi campuses, that I do have to wake up, and that is my duty to him. That is what I owe to Bhagwan. You can see the backdrop of my screen over here. It says, I am. Okay. All my years with Bhagwan, if I have to tell that what is the 2 things I carry, what are the 2 words I carry with me as a culmination of all his teachings, it will be these 2 words, I am. And this is something that I felt I should frame it and put it in my office and constantly remind me, I am. In one of the sessions in Kodaikanal, Bhagwan was there with a lot of students and teachers and a lot of devotees, and on a playful evening it was, and Bhagwan was asking, who am I? And so everybody was giving the answer. Somebody said, Bhagwan, you are Shiv Shakti Swarupa. Somebody said, Swami, you are Christ reborn. You're the father of the Christ. Someone said, Bhagwan, you are Sakshat Narayana himself. And everyone is giving, all kinds of answers. And for everything, Bhagwan is saying, Kadu, Kadu, no, no, no. And finally, when everybody has given the answers and they're exhausted, and they throw up their hands, Swami, we don't know. You have to guide us and enlighten us. And Swami says, I am I. This is the words he uses to describe him. He said the only thing which can do justice to who I am is these two words called I am. And this is the reality of our lives. Because whatever you add after this becomes our reality. If you say, I am just a human, yes, you are a human. If you say, I am just a banker, yes, you are a banker. If you say, oh, I'm just a mortal who is trying to find his way through this life, yes, you are a mortal. And if you say, I am God, that defines who you are. And after that also, there is something called, you have to go beyond where you describe yourself as God. And that is, I am I. There is nothing, it is just a presence. And this silence retreat that we do, this is nothing but that awareness. Everybody talks about AI, artificial intelligence. And every time I hear that, I remind myself, awareness, intelligence, that is what we should possess. We have filled our lives. Silence is very awkward. If I keep silent now for 2 minutes, everyone will wonder, is this, the system is not working, or gets disconnected from the Wi-Fi, or the screen has frozen. What is happening? Why is he not speaking? Because silence is awkward. That is how the world we live in. We have a 5 minutes, we scroll a reel in Instagram, we send a text to somebody, we watch a recap of what's happened in Netflix over some series. We have learned to fill. Even a phone doesn't buzz, we feel the phone is dead. Even the phone has to be alive, it has to buzz. It is like the refrigerator in our houses, always constantly buzzing with with stress or whatever it is, right? Because we have tried to fill these gaps or silences with something. Silence is awkward. And it takes a great deal to take a step back and just be. I will do a small exercise with you maybe later, which Bhagwan did with a couple of us. And that was so powerful to make us understand the importance of being in silence. Now, we are living in a world which is moving so fast. And here we have invited people to sit without pause, breathe in, look inward, which is so sacred. That's why I want to thank each one of you for your presence here and the stillness you're bringing onto this satsang. I'll share a small incident which happened. So I was born in a Sai family. We came to Bhagwan, when sometimes nature puts its hand and you realize that, oh, life is so tough. And when you feel that we have been pushed against the wall and there is Bhagwan who appears and hugs you and says that, why fear when I'm here? And that is how we took baby steps into this beautiful system or this beautiful planet of Bhagwan. And I was a Balavika student. We used to have Balavika classes at home. And then used to visit Puttaparthi whenever I can. So after my 10th grade, I did apply for Swami's school and I was selected in. So those 2 years was in Puttaparthi. And all of you who have been seeing those 90s and 2000s of Bhagwan in the physical frame, you realize everything was to revolve around his physical frame. Everything, right? From darshan to interview, to the sports meet, to the discourses, to the Shara celebration, the Christmas celebration, everything was to be around his physical frame. So the first 2 years, was always with Bhagwan. And then after my 2 years of study in Puttaparthi, I had to go for my graduation to Brindavan. Now, all of a sudden, you are 200 miles away from Puttaparthi. You can no longer have darshan every day of him. And that was so unsettling. That was so unsettling because deep down, all of us were craving for that physical darshan of Bhagwan, just to have a glimpse of him, just to have a word from him. And he's the world around which our worlds revolve around. So I was very, very unsettled in Whitefield campus, Brindavan. And it went on for 6 months. And that is when I asked myself, what do I do? Maybe I will not have access to Bhagwan's physical presence all my life. If I have a small problem now, I just write a letter to Bhagwan and show it to Swami, and I know the problem is taken care of. But what if one day I won't be there physically to give this letter to Bhagwan? And this question started my spiritual journey, which was inward. In Brindavan, we have some of the most beautiful processes, I will call them systems, which basically is designed by Bhagwan himself, right from the day time we wake up till time we sleep, which brings out a certain aspect of a personality to the forefront. It is never with some, without any thought that Bhagwan designed the entire curriculum, the entire timetable for all the students or for the devotees across the ashram. There was a certain design to it. Every time I used to ask myself, that yes, we do want happiness. Everybody wants to be happy. Everyone is doing something in this world to be happy. But do we really want to be happy? And it came to me that yes, we want happiness, but we want other things. Or let's put it more accurately by saying that we don't want to be happy unless something is given to us or someone is with us. So all that happiness comes with a condition. So we are all conditionally happy. Imagine we tell this to our family members, we tell this to people we love, we tell this to even God, that, you are my happiness. If I don't get you, I refuse to be happy. And I understood that this is what exactly I was telling Bhagwan. That Bhagwan, I refuse to be happy till I have you with me face to face in a physical darshan of yours. I refuse to be happy. So this was the condition which I had put for Bhagwan. And Bhagwan, being the master he is, he's a very strict master. He has a love of 1,000 mothers, but I tell you, when he comes down to brass tacks, he's so tough, very tough. And that was the thing I learned at this lotus feet, that you have to love unconditionally. That love that you carry has to be unconditional. So it's very important to understand this aspect, Can we conceive that each one of us can be happy without a certain event happening, or without a certain person being in our lives, or we reaching some certain destination? Can we be really happy? So when you're away from Bhagwan, it is like the Gopikas who were there with Bhagwan, and Krishna, and they used to pine for his love, and they used to pine for his affection. This will be lots of heartache, and look at the heartaches we have now in our world, in our families. Look at the loneliness that we face. Look at the fear that we have, or the uncertainty that we have over everything in life. Now imagine something which comes, or someone comes and says that, and he tells me, Vivek, I'm going to take away all this loneliness, all this heartache, all this emotional drainage of health, all this emotional drainage of emotions, all this emotional drainage of energy from you. Suppose somebody gave you a stop for that. Would you want it? Yes, of course you would want that. Suppose somebody showed us a truly way to love each other in the right sense, be at peace with ourselves. Won't that be wonderful? Won't that journey is worth traveling? So I surrendered myself to this journey. I said, Bhagwan, I will not crave or cry for your physical presence, but you better teach me that I feel you inside, deep inside me. And then the journey started. And that was the wake up call for me, because you are living in a world which is changing so fast. Our bodies are aging, relationships are evolving. Nothing is the same today, something tomorrow is something else. Fortunes rise and fall. So in this ephemeral and constantly changing world, what do we cling on to? Because we are looking for some anchor in our lives. All of us at every stage of our life, we look for an anchor. And that made me think that I will be like this, a beggar all my life, full of uncertainty, full of fear, looking for scraps of happiness, of joy from things around me, from people around me, from events around me, from positions around me, from accomplishments around me. But is this the way how I should live a life? And then the quest began. And the only way I could try to understand was I went to the libraries and I started reading books. You know, so I read all the Vahini series of Bhagwan. I read Satyasai Speaks. I read Bhagavad Gita for Daily Living by Eknath Ishwaran. It's a beautiful book. Then I found Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Beautiful books. And I knew they're talking about one single thing, and that is of living in the now, of being in the space between thoughts. But how do I get there? Now I know theoretically that if I get and I live my life in the present moment, I don't think of the past, I don't think of the future, because past we have regrets, future we have worries. But if I stay in the presence, that is where it is called omnipresent. One says, right? Present is omnipresent, because that is where the joy is. So I know technically, I know theoretically now that this is the spiritual practice for me, to start living my life, every moment of my life, in this present moment. But how do I live? How do I do it practically? And when your heart is earning, when you have the intentions of traveling on that path, Bhagwan himself comes as the guide. He is the GPS we all need on our lives at every stage. And there, Bhagwan created a small, beautiful evening for all of us. So, the vacation started, summer vacation started, and all the students left for their hometowns, except a few of us, including me. Hardly 10 boys were there in the hostel that time. And, we were taking care of a lot of activities or responsibilities we had towards the ashram, towards the hostel. So I had stayed back for my vacation. I didn't go. I was in Vrindavan campus. And suddenly, after morning darshan, around 11 o'clock, when we come back to the hostel, um, the warden sir says that, boys, today's lunch we will have with Bhagwan. Bhagwan has very, very graciously invited us to Trai Vrindavan to have lunch with him. And hearing that, all of us were in cloud number 9, because, you have that beautiful, we have always heard about it, that, Swami is to, make you sit around, and the way he will talk, the way he will serve food, and all it was very exciting for us. And we waited a bated breath. And at 11:30 in the morning, Swami always has a very early lunch. And we went to Trai Brindavan, and in the dining session, Bhagwan was seated around the dining table, and there were a lot of devotees and professors, the vice chancellor. I remember Dr. Safaya being there, seated there, and we all were seated down, and the food was served. So the thali, or the vessel on which the food was served, was so huge, and we had more than 36 items, food items on the plate, and it looked like a feast for the gods. And Swami said, start doing Brahmarpanam. So we started Omkaram, we finished Brahmarpanam. By the time we finished Brahmarpanam, Bhagwan had already finished his lunch. He was so quick. He doesn't eat at all. He just takes a handful of morsels, and there he was having his lunch. And he gets up from his chair and he says that now I'll walk around. And he was overseeing the entire lunch preparation and the lunch serving for everyone. And so he was saying, serve this here more puri, serve here the vegetable pulao, give here the dahi vada, so many items, and everything was being served. And all of us had to almost our brim the how much ever we can eat, because one thing, the food was so amazingly tasty, and then it was Bhagwan who was overseeing that. So the joy and exuberance to eat, we overate. And Swami says, wait, now the main item has to come, the dessert has to come, dessert has not yet come. And in comes gulab jamun, big hot, dripping with nectar. This big gulab jamuns came, and Swami, served all of us the gulab jamuns, and it was a slice of nectar. It was a slice of heaven. The moment I put my gulab jamun in my mouth, it just melted, and it was so amazingly nice to look at Bhagwan and eating the gulab jamun. Sweetness outside, sweetness inside. And then after the gulab jamun is over, and we thought the session is over and we can get up to wash our hands. And Swami says, wait, one more gulab jamun. And he serves us the gulab jamun again. And this time the joy was not as much as the first time it was served, but we dare not waste the gulab jamun. So we ate the gulab jamun with a lot of difficulty. And as we thought that, this has ended the session, Swami comes with another gulab jamun and says that, how can you not eat? You're young boys, you have to eat gulab jamun. And I'm giving you so much of love. It is so amazing. Have it. You'll not find it again in hostel. And he starts putting the gulab jamun on plates again. And this time, nobody dares say no to Bhagwan, but we were like, Bhagwan, please, we're praying inside. Swami, not for me, not for me. So there was a very thin boy, so he thought he'll escape it. But Swami told, you need more gulab jamuns, and put one more gulab jamun on his plate. And this time we really struggled to finish the gulab jamuns. And after the gulab jamun session was over, we by Bhagwan was very graceful to let us go. We washed our hands and we're sitting, at the Trai Brindavan, and Bhagwan came and he said, how was the food, boys? So we said, Bhagwan, oh, it was amazing. It was so beautiful, Bhagwan. It was so tasty, and it was nothing like we've eaten before. And thank you, Bhagwan. And Bhagwan says, how was the gulab jamun? And this is something, gulab jamun was out of the world. And Swami asked, so when you got the first gulab jamun, how much happiness did you feel out of it, from rating of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? So we said, Swami, 10. We're very, very happy. And then Swami said, the second gulab jamun, Swami, not so much, because we're satisfied. So we felt around 7. And the third gulab jamun, Swami said, and we said, Swami, we found it very difficult to eat. We didn't enjoy the gulab jamun. And Swami says, why? The same gulab jamun. You got so much happiness in the first one. Why you didn't feel so happy when I give you the third and second? You should be more happy. And then at that moment, he told one of the greatest truths, for which Adi Shankara has written, treatise on the Advaita. Scholars, great Vedic scholars, Pandits, sages and saints have done so much of sadhana to understand this aspect. And here Bhagavan was teaching us. Bhagavan said, it is not the gulab jamun which gave you joy. The gulab jamun didn't give you joy. But when you ate the first gulab jamun, your mind was at peace. Your mind was at contentment. You had no desires for anything. You were desireless. Till the second gulab jamun came. And then Bhagavan says, what gives you joy, what gives you real happiness is not the object. It is the space between the objects of desire. It is between the space of your thoughts. And he looked at me and said, stay in that space between thoughts. That is where the joy is. That is where the contentment is. That is where Ananda is. And that is nothing but awareness. When we have a thought, till the next thought arises, the space between these two thoughts is what gives us that joy, Ananda, or meaning of life. It is not the object. It is not the thoughts. It is not the planning. It is not the achievement. It is the space where we do nothing, we think nothing, we are nothing. That is what gives us the real meaning of life. Looking back now, I just feel, how beautiful is that you are learning this at his lotus feet, the greatest of truths, over a gulab jamun. He didn't ask you to renounce the world. He didn't ask you to go and do penance in some forest or go to Himalayas. Sitting there at his lotus feet over a gulab jamun, he taught us the greatest truth of life. And that became my sadhana. That was the only spiritual practice which I have done in my entire life. I started staying in that presence of that space between two thoughts. So if I ask you something now, please raise your hands, all of you. Have any one of you got problems in your life? If yes, please raise your hand. If you've got a problem in your life, please raise your hand. It could be anything. It could be emotional, financial, relationship, money, health. It could be anything. But all we definitely have somewhere we feel is a problem is there, or there is a worry which is nagging me, nagging my heart. And Bhagavan told a beautiful thing. He said that this moment, this moment. So as I'm saying this moment is over. This moment, it's already over. If I bring my awareness into this moment, see, it's over. Now ask yourself, this moment, do you have a problem? This moment. Do you have a problem at this moment? We don't have a problem because the mind needs time to think of a problem. The mind needs time to say, Vivek, you have got a big problem, please worry. But if Vivek stays in every second, in complete awareness, where is the problem? Now, each one of you, just do this exercise for 1 single minute, okay? As I'm saying, snapping of a finger is one moment, okay? Bring your awareness to this moment. This moment, this moment, this moment. How are you feeling? This moment, how are you feeling? How do you feel this moment? The only answer is that you feel a profound peace. You feel a love which floods your heart. And that's your true nature. That is the true nature that we are. Not how we describe ourselves. So the most important thing is self-absorption and self-observation. Okay, so all of us self-absorbed. We are so much into our lives, we just can't take a step back. We are so much engrossed in our day-to-day life, day-to-day thinking, the way we run our families, the way we run our businesses, the way we run our jobs, the way we do everything in our life. There is always a voice which keeps on giving you prompts, So as we are doing this session now, many of us will be thinking, okay, I agree with this with Vivek. Okay, I don't agree with this on Vivek. Oh, this I have experienced. Oh, I have not experienced this. Oh, I can relate to this. Oh, I can't relate to this. So as I'm sharing this with you, there is a constant chatter, constant dialogue which is happening with each one of us. And this happens at every conversation with everyone we are. This is non-stop. And that is why this silence is required so much, where we take a step back and we ask ourselves, what is that I am thinking right now? So I has to, so you are a teenager, right? I was studying in Bhagwan's college, and you are a teenager, you are a 18-year-old boy, and so many thoughts are coming. So many kind of thoughts are coming. And Swami is saying, I'm just, I'm just with that weight of those thoughts, I'm just saying, oh my God, why so Bhagwan? The more I'm trying to sit quietly, the more I'm trying to sit in silence, the thoughts are coming more and more. And Bhagwan said, that means if this is happening to you, you are on the right track. This is meant to happen. This is meant to happen, but you don't have to associate yourself with these thoughts. Let it come like clouds and go. You be the sky, be the witness to it. Now, how do I do it practically? So for me, everything was that yes, Bhagavan has told this discourse. I understand it theoretically, but I need to practice it. Okay, and Bhagwan, in his own beautiful manner, he was giving a discourse, and he was saying that imagine you are sitting in a room. The room is all dark. It's completely dark, and somebody has tied your mouth and gagged you and tied your hands also and legs to the chair. You can't whisper, you can't make a small sound of whisper. And then someone comes and says, hey Vivek, are you in this room? The room is dark. You are sitting in the chair on corner, he can't see you, but he's asking you, Vivek, are you there? That moment, what comes to you? Yes, I am. You can't speak, but your entire being is saying, entire being is relating, yes, I am there, I'm present here. That is that I am. That is the presence that we all have to feel in our lives. And for that, it is most beautiful thing. It is, you don't have to sit in one place. You can be cooking, you can be taking a shower, you can be in the subway, you can be the Fifth Avenue, you can be New York Central, you can be anywhere in the world, and you can meditate on this. That at this moment, where are my thoughts? Is it in the past? Past can be very nice also, right? We have good memories, but still it's a past. Even 5 seconds before what has happened is past. And what's going to happen after 5 seconds, future. So all we have is this moment. And believe me, this is the door to the consciousness that Bhagavan was talking about, of Satchit Anand. Constant integrated awareness. This is the door for that. It is not difficult. It's not difficult at all. And Swami had his own beautiful way of saying. So I'm saying, you go to a barber and you want to shave, your beard and all that, and you show your neck. And the barber is taking a knife and is moving your knife on your neck. But you are not bothered. You are closing eyes, listening to the music in the saloon. You're not bothered that he's going to cut your throat. But you trust the barber, but you don't trust Baba. That was Swami's to humorous way of saying things, that you trust the barber, but you don't trust Baba. If I look very seriously or profound into this, yes, I may call his avatar, he's my master, he's one thing, but do I really believe what he says? So if he says you are God or you are me, do I believe that? I don't believe it. I don't believe that. And that is where the faith has to walk in. So in science, we always do an experiment first and then we form a theory. So if you mix two parts of hydrogen and one part of oxygen, you get water, H2O. But in spirituality, it is other way around. You have to have belief first, and then the experience will come. So I'll share one small incident which happened, after my MBA got over, and I finished my MBA, and I was wondering that, Swami, I need your guidance. So a lot of boys, they were applying for jobs. Somebody got jobs, and I was like, Swagwan, I need your guidance. And then he comes my dream, and he says that, don't go, stay in the ashram. I'll tell you what to do. And morning I woke up and I decided that I have to stay back in ashram. And this is way back in 2003. Swami was in Vrindavan, I was in Puttaparthi. We all know in 2003 what happened, when Swami fell down in Vrindavan campus and apparently broke his hip, and he had to be, surgery had to be done, and Bhagwan didn't give darshan for almost 6 months till Navratri, till Dashera in 2003, right? So that period there was no darshan. So the morning that I was in Puttaparthi, because he had asked me that you stay in Puttaparthi. Puttaparthi in the month of May and June was sweltering hot. It was so hot, not a single soul, because Bhami was in Vrindavan, and everybody had gone to Whitefield. And I think very few people were in Puttaparthi, and I was there. And Bhagwan comes my dream that morning. And in the dream, I see a very strange spectacle. I see that I am with Bhagwan in his room, and Bhagwan climbs a small chair kind of a thing to pick up something from the attic. He has kept something upstairs, and he opens the cupboard and he wants to bring it down. And he's standing on a stool, like in a small staircase. And I'm watching him from the other side of the room. And all of a sudden, to my horror, the chair slips and Bhagwan falls down right in front of my eyes. And I shout, Swami, like in despair, I shout Bhagwan's name. The next thing I see, Bhagwan's head was on my lap. He's lying down on my lap. His head is there, and his head is all bandaged. The entire body is bandaged except this part of his face. And seeing that, I start crying. I just cry like nobody can console me. I just break into tears and I'm crying and crying. Bhagwan, what has this happened? And Swami looks at me and says, why are you worrying? It's all drama. It's all drama I'm doing. And then he says, but if I've fallen down now, I can't go for darshan. Who'll do my work? He asks me, who'll do my work? And without a second of thinking, of thought, it comes from me that, Bhagwan, you bless us, we'll do your work. And Swami looks at me and says, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm narrating this to you. This is more than 20 years back, this dream I had got, and it's so fresh in my mind even now. And Swami looks at me and says, but can you do my work? Are you capable enough to do my work? And I look at him and I say, Bhagwan, if your grace is there, if a monkey can jump across 7 seas and a lame person can climb the mountains, Bhagwan, I can do it. And immediately his face beams with a laughter and he says, that's the faith I need from you. And he says, you will do my work. And the next thing I see, he's no more. He has left his physical frame. And we all saw, many of you must have seen on April 24th, 2011, when they brought Bhagwan's physical body in that glass casket, and people all over there. And that was the dream. In my dream, I'm seeing this, in 2003, Swami is showing me that they're bringing his body on Chitravati Road on the, to the bus stop inside Ganesh Gate. And people have climbed mountains, trees, apartments to catch a glimpse of him. And everybody's crying, looking at him. Swami, why you left us? Why you left us? Why you left us? And then He breaks the casket open. He comes to me and he says, "This is a drama. Don't fall for this drama. This is a Maya. This is an illusion I put for all of you. I am there with each one of you." And he looks at me and smiles. And that moment, Bhagwan's face had the radiance of 1,000 suns. He's no more the Satya Sai Baba in that physical frame. 1,000 suns, light is pouring from his body. And he's looking so beautiful. And Bhagwan says, "This is my true form." He looks at me and says, "This is my true form. And I will be with you in this form all your life. At every moment, I'll be with you in this form." And the dream gets over. It was 4:30 in the morning. I'm sweating. My entire body is drenched with sweat. I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. I don't know. My heart is palpitating like like an engine. And I get up from my bed. I don't even brush. I rush towards my hostel and the college. So in the institute college, behind near the hills, there is a Ganesha statue, and I used to do my prayers and all my sadhana, whatever I used to practice meditation over there. So I'm rushing there, and as I'm crossing the Vidyagiri gate, someone shouts my name from behind. "Hey, Vivekanand, wait, 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 wait!" Okay, and I turn back. It is one of my professors from the university, one of my MBA professors, and he's rushing towards me, and I'm like, "Sir, what is it, sir? Please, can I talk to you later? I'm in a hurry." And he doesn't listen to me. He says, "You stand here, right here. You stand right here." And he says, "What did Bhagwan come and tell you in a dream? What did Bhagwan tell you in a dream?" The moment he says that, I am shell shocked, because I'm wondering how is that he knows that Swami has come in a dream and given me a message. And I break down. I start crying and I say that, "Sir, I saw that Swami has left his physical body, has left his mortal coils. He's no longer with us. And this is the dream I saw." And I narrate to him the entire dream. And then he says, "You know how I know this? Because Swami came in my dream. And Swami told, I am living this physical frame right now, right? Today I'm living this physical frame. And my, sir is saying, Swami, you can't do that. You have promised that you will be on this earth in this physical for 96 years. How can you go like that before time?" And Swami laughs at him, and Swami says, "Dunna Potu," like a buffalo, Swami should call. And Swami says, "You know who I am? I am Kala Titaya Namaha. I am the time. I am not bound by time. Time is here in my hands. I can choose to stay, to go at any point of my life on the journey on earth." And then, my sir falls at his feet, and Swami says, "Swami, please don't go, because we are not prepared." And Swami says, "But I have been trying to prepare you for all these years. You guys are not prepared at all. I'm trying to wake you up. You're not waking up. So I have to leave this body now." And then Swami says, "Okay, I will stay for some more years. And this message I have given to a student." And my sir asked Swami, "Which student?" And then Swami says, "That boy Vivekanand Sahu, I have told him this. In his dream, go and ask him." And that is how he's looking for me in the ashram, and he finds me near the Vidyagiri gate. And both of us go to the Ganesha, and we both sit there in silence. We both start praying that, Bhagavan, we are no one to dictate your master plan on this earth, but Bhagavan, please stay back in this physical body. And that morning we got news from Vrindavan that Swami has fallen down, and Swami has been admitted for surgery in the hip. And it was exactly the way we saw in the dream. So this all happened, and Swami was in Vrindavan, in Trai Vrindavan, Whitefield, Bangalore, for almost 3-4 months, and I was in Puttaparthi. And that was the time I used to do a lot of spiritual practices. So my spiritual practice was very simple. It was staying in the now. And for me, I found out that to stay in this silence, one of the most beautiful thing is, you have this Ganesha mandir, when you enter Prashanti through the gate, the first thing who greets you is Ganesha. And I used to go around the Ganesha temple, what we call is Pradakshina, 108 times. 108 times every evening. So if I start at 8 o'clock in the evening after my dinner, it will get over at 11 o'clock or 11:30. So for 3.5 hours, I used to go around the Ganesha Mandir. And when I was going around, the only thought which was in my mind was nothing. I was trying to be in the now, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the present, but I will be in the now. And with that thought, I'll be going. I'll be just observing myself. I'll be just watching over my thoughts, and I'll be going around the temple. And human mind, very fickle, very monkey mind. So I have to do this for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then one day I just thought came to me when I was doing it, that am I mad just to go around this idol every day for 3.5 hours? Are you even listening? Are you even acknowledging my presence? Do my prayers even reach you? And the monkey mind, how it comes, and the thought came, okay, if you have heard my prayers, if you acknowledge my presence, it should rain right now. Okay. And look at the tests we put divine into. And the beauty of the divine is that like mother listens to prattle of the child, the divine also listens to you. And out of nowhere there was a huge downpour. Okay, the skies were clear, but suddenly it rained like it has never rained in Puttaparthi, and I was drenched to the bone. And I look at Ganesha, okay, stop the rain now. I know you have heard my prayers and you are very much present here. Please stop the prayer, still stop the rains, and the rain stops. Okay. So this lot of incidents were happening where he was telling, or his way of acknowledging that, you are on the path. Just keep walking. Don't worry. Once in a while when we are doing sadhana and we don't get the results immediately, it is very natural to get these doubts. Am I doing it properly? Is it even required? Look at that person. He's getting so much without doing anything. Why should I put myself so much of misery and trouble? So these are the constant things or questions which comes when you do sadhana. But you have to, each one of us have to rise above that. And that's what happened. And then October, before October, Swami comes back to Puttaparthi, and darshan starts, right? Darshan starts. So one day after darshan, I had my dinner in the evening, and I usually do my pradakshina. uh, I did my prayers around Ganesha. By the time it was 12:30 midnight, because it was the Dashera time, so there were a lot of devotees. So I was waiting for devotees to go, so then I can do it, in a peaceful manner, without any people being around me. So by the time I finished it, it was 12:30 a.m. in the morning, and I was staying at that time in Samadhi Road. In one of the small, I have taken a room on rent, and I had finished my education. I was waiting for Bhagwan's instruction, so I had taken a room there, and I was waiting there. So as I walked down Samadhi Road, in front of Mother Ishwaramba Samadhi, you have the staff quarters. Old Puttaparthi, if any of you remember, we used to have the staff quarters just in front of the Mother Ishwaramba Samadhi, and there is a turn there, which turns towards the left side. Right at the turn, in front of Mother Samadhi, some people had dumped garbage, and it was so badly stinking. There was such a bad smell coming out of that, and I was so much taken in pain. I was saying, my God, we clean Puttaparthi, we clean our houses, we clean the ashram, and right here in front of Swami's mother Samadhi, Ishwaramba, Mother Ishwaramba Samadhi, we have not even, thought and understood why it is important, and we have dumped all the garbage here. So all these restaurants, all these food joints which were there on the street, so they had dumped all their garbage in that corner, thinking that the morning the municipality truck will come and clean it. But it was so bad at 12:30 in the morning, and standing there, it just thought came to me, a thought came to me that I must get this cleaned. So tomorrow I must go to the ashram and give a complaint there, that This place has to be cleaned. And then the thought which came to me was that, but why would they listen to me? They have more important work to do. So I said, I'll get my friends, my classmates, and we'll clean this place. But then the other thought came to me was that maybe they will not come. So a very strong thought which came to me was, even if no one comes, even if no one comes, I will come in the morning and I will make a garbage drain here where the water can drain out, and there will be a place where the garbage can be put, and then nothing will be coming out on the roads, and it will be spick and span, it will be so clean. And with this thought, I went and slept at 1 o'clock in the morning. The next morning, when I come back at 6 o'clock, I'm going to Mandir for darshan. At 6 o'clock in the morning, to my utter amazement, the entire place has been cleaned overnight. The way I had imagined how the drain has to be constructed, somebody has come over and constructed drain. They have put a new garbage bin exactly the way I had envisioned. There is not even a 5% discrepancy between my thoughts of how I had thought of and what has actually happened on the ground. And I'm amazed that how can it happen in a span of 5 hours in the night? Somebody has come and done the work the way I had thought of just 5 hours back. And with this thought, I come and sit in Mandir. And around 7:30, the darshan music starts. And the Vedam starts chanting, and Swami comes into Kulwant Hall. And I'm sitting in the veranda, and next to me is Anil Kumar sir. Sir is sitting next to me, and there are not many people because all the students had classes, so only the former students, we were seated in the veranda, hardly 10-15 of us. And Bhagwan goes around the sister's side for darshan, then he comes towards the brother's side, and as he comes, he stops near the veranda, and he looks at Anil Kumar sir, and he says, Anil, do you know, our boys, they have sometimes very, very strange and mad thoughts. And Anil Kumar sir, how he used to behave so animated in front of Swami. And Swami, is it so, Swami? What happened, Swami? Tell me. Anil Kumar sir, he asked Bhagwan. And Swami says, boys think that when they sit here in Puttaparthi, in Kulwant Hall for my darshan, they think they waste their time. They're wasting the time. And the moment I heard this, my face becomes green in pale. I just pale out. Because the previous evening, what had happened was, you had this Hyderabad group of devotees, youth who had come. After doing service across, that time Andhra Pradesh was not divided, Telangana was not created. So you had, the entire state, very big state. And the youth of Hyderabad had undertaken a Gram Seva Yatra. So they had traveled across for months, across all the villages in Andhra, and did activities of Bhagwan on Balvikas, Educare, did medical camps, did provide water to them. And after doing all of that seva for months, they had come to Puttaparthi with almost thousands of villagers. And the previous evening, they offered all this to Bhagwan, and Bhagwan was so happy. Bhagwan was so happy. Swami was blessing them profusely and giving them dhoti, t-shirts, shirt, pants, to the ladies' side. He was giving saris, he was distributing sweets, and Swami was very happy. And Swami said, I'm very happy with the seva that you have done for all the villagers. And I was sitting there in the block looking at all of this, and I was thinking, Swami, for the last 6 months, you have just made me sit here. I am doing nothing. I get up in the morning, I come for darshan, I eat my lunch, I go back, I come back again afternoon 2 o'clock for darshan, I have your darshan, I do bhajans, then I do my pradakshina and I go back. Swami, is this way you want to use me? Use me, I am your instrument. Don't make me so idle. That was a thought which was raging in my mind, that Swami, I want to work for you. Please give me an opportunity to work for you the way, these people are working. How can you make me sit here all day for months together? So this was thought which had come to me the previous evening. And the next morning, Swami is saying to Anikumar sir that the boys have these thoughts that when they sit in Kulwant Hall, I'm wasting the times. And Anikumar sir is saying, no, no, Swami, how is that possible? This is very foolish thought. Swami says, yes, they don't understand that when they sit here in Kulwant Hall, waiting for me in silence, it is not a waste of time. It is that time when I'm working on them. I am chiseling them. I'm sharpening them. I'm giving them everything that is required for them to go and do my work out in the world. They don't realize that. They think we're just sitting in Kulwant Hall, we're wasting time. And Swami looked at me and I didn't know where to hide. That's the beauty. How can you hide something from someone who knows everything? Every innermost thought of yours, he knows. Even if you don't speak it out, he knows about it, what you're thinking. And he looks at Anil Kumar sir and he says that, Anil, I don't want my boys to become like laborers, go dig here, dig there, clean that, clean that. I want my people, I want my devotees, I want my boys, I want my devotees to work with me on my plane, not at their plane. They're at their plane now. They have to come and rise to my plane. They have to work from here. They have to become so pure that any thought which comes to them, any sankalpa which comes to them becomes a Vajra sankalpa. Swami always says that my sankalpa or my thought is like a Vajra. It's like the lightning. I can change the sky into earth into sky, but whatever I have told, it will happen the way I have told it. If Bhagwan has declared that on 22nd November, the hospital will get inaugurated, come hell, come rains, come anything, earthquake, tsunami, it will be inaugurated on that day. He is his word. If it has come out of Bhagwan's mouth, it will happen. And for me, it was not because he was God. For me, it was a lesson in leadership. That whatever you say, be your word. Be your word. If you say something, keep it. And that is how your words become so powerful. Your sankalpa becomes like a Vajra sankalpa. And Bhagwan told, Anil Kumar sir, that I want my boys to work with me on my plane. I want them to be like generals, like army generals, commanding huge armies. They can sit here in Puttaparthi, think, and the work will happen outside. You don't have to go and do the work. You become so pure. You become so much intense in that space of awareness that you become your word. And Swami looked at me and he smiled. And he says, when you think something should get cleaned automatically. And he smiled at me. And I had nothing, but I just fell at his lotus feet. And that was the biggest lesson for me, that no matter what seva we may speak about, no matter what activities we may speak about, we do a lot of activities. So my parents, last 50 years, I've seen them running around the organization. I've seen, people so devoted, so across the world doing activities. But all I remind myself is that, yes, that is important, but at the same time, you have to work on yourself. We have to work on ourselves. That is so important, because that is where the transformation happens. That is where, in that silence, we can work out miracles. And that is the stage when you are no longer Vivek, you're no longer XYZ, but you became the personification of Bhagwan himself. And for me, this journey with Bhagwan is nothing but a journey in silence, because that is one of the most beautiful experiences anyone can ever experience. When we dwell in the silence, when there's absolutely no thought, and any thought which comes, it just materializes. I think it happens. I say it happens. So the entire my endeavor was that I should not depend on this physical frame of Bhagwan. I think one day he's going to shed this mortal coil, And that time I should not feel helpless. That Swami, I have no one to guide me now. At that moment, whatever he has lived, it has become you. I remember in one of the interviews, we'll do this exercise now. I want to do this all to all of you. Um, so I was practicing this being in the now, and it is a beautiful state. When you are not in the past, you are not in the present, you're not the future, but you are just absolutely in the now. You are just aware of everything around you. And but I had not yet got into that exact experience of being in the now. So Swami calls for an interview in the evening, and we had that time the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, had come to Puttaparthi, and Swami had selected a few one of us to serve him. And after Vajpayee sir left, Swami was very happy, and he called all of us and said, "Boys, I'm very happy with the work you have done. Um, I will give you something special today." And so in the evening he calls us for an interview, and when there are some 5-6 of us, we go in the interview room door, and Swami says, "Today I want to give you everything. What do you want?" And Swami, everyone is like, "Swami, we want you. Swami, we want your love. Swami, we want your grace." And Swami, that is always there. Ask something worldly. Ask something from the world. Do you want some money? Do you want a car? Do you want to go abroad? Ask me something. And all of us are like, "No, Swami, we just want you." And then suddenly he gets up from his sofa and he comes towards me and looks at me and says, "What do you want? Tell me." And I tell, I kneel down and tell Bhagavan, "I just want your love. I want you." And then all of a sudden he raises his hand like that and he says, "Sakshat Vishnu, the Shiva, the Vishnu himself, the God, is standing in front of you, asking you what boon you want. This chance you will not get in 1,000 lifetimes. Tell me what you want, I'll give it to you." And seeing that Bhagwan, in that form, I get so nervous and I just go and hug around his waist. He's standing and I'm kneeling down. I go around. So I say, "Swami, I want only you." And next moment, his hands descends on my head like that, and he says, "Good boy, good boy." And he says, "If you have God, you have the world with you. If you go after the world, you will have nothing." And he says that there's a coconut tree. If you want the coconut, what will you do? So we say, "Swami, we will climb the tree, pluck up the fruit." And Swami says, "Yes, but will you go after the shadow?" I say, "No, Swami, we will not go after the shadow." Why? Because if you go after the shadow, you will not get anything. But if you go after the fruit, you climb the tree, you pluck the fruit, you get the real fruit as well as the shadow. So Bhagwan says that the world is the shadow and the tree is the God. So if you go after God, you will get God also and the world also. But if you run after the shadow, you get nothing. And so these are some beautiful truths, or greatest truths, spiritual truths, which Bhagavan was narrating over a anecdote. And then he says, so I asked, so one of the boys asked, "Swami, how do we feel your presence?" Because when we're in Puttaparthi, I see your darshan, I feel your presence, but when I go out of Puttaparthi, I don't feel your presence at all. And so Swami looks, and Swami says, "See, if you have bad smell coming, you have bad odor coming from someone, what you do, you put a agarbatti, incense stick, and the good smell cancels off the bad smell, isn't it?" So Swami says, whenever you feel that Swami is not with you, you remember me and you'll feel my presence. And then I asked him, because I was not very happy with Swami's answer, something was saying that you asked this. So Swami, please make us experience this. How do you feel your presence? And Swami says, "Okay." And I want all of you to do this now, and Swami says, "Close your eyes. Please close all of your eyes. Please close your eyes." And as we close our eyes, Bhagwan says, "Try to listen to the sound, what's happening around you." Okay. So we were sitting in the interview room, trying to listen to the sounds, and outside the interview was, bhajans were playing, bhajans was being sung, So we said, Swami, bhajans are started outside interview room. Swami says, no, go deeper, go deeper. What can you hear now? And as we listened deeper, we heard the ceiling fan in the interview room. You know, the ceiling fan was making a hum sound. We could hear the ceiling fan sound. And I told Swami, I can hear the ceiling fan noise. And Swami says, no, go deeper, go deeper. And as we went deeper, I told Bhagwan, I can hear you breathe. You know, Swami was breathing, we could hear his breathing. And Swami says, go deeper still. And then what I could hear was my own breath. I could hear me breathing. Are you able to hear your breathing right now? Just stay in this stillness, just stay in this now, and see if you are able to hear that breath of yours. So I told Bhagavan, Swami, I can hear me breathe. And Swami said, go deeper still, go deeper. And as I went deeper into that, there was a noise like, you know, when you go to a forest area, you heard cricket sound. Mm, mm, mm. I told Swami I could hear this sound. And Swami says, hold on to that sound. Hold on to the sound, because that is the gateway to the consciousness. That is the key. That is a lock to open the door to consciousness, to your own awareness. And with that, the session got over. I'm not sure if I'm sure some of you must have definitely experienced this. Okay, but this became my spiritual endeavor. And anytime I was doing anything, no matter if I was in the public, in a bus stand, I was at the airport, or whether I was traveling, when I'm sitting at home, I'm taking a shower, I will just go into this now. And that is where you will realize that miracles. So once we are silent, once we hold on to that consciousness, everything we do, everything around us becomes a miracle. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that life is effortless. And it's literally that. It takes a whole lot of pain, energy to plan things, to execute things according to our plans. But the moment we surrender to this now, presence of now, to this silence, that is where the miracle starts happening actually. And that is the one of the most beautiful ways of living. So, you know, so Bhagwan, whatever he does, and he, you know, he says a beautiful example, you know, and I think with that I will end the talk here. You know, so there was a Arab trader, you know, way back in the Arabs, and you know, he had hundreds of camels. So he used to go from one village fair to another village fair to sell his camels. So once they were traveling, and you know, as the evening came, they pitched tent to take rest, and the master went to his tent, and all his other you know, people, his boys, they were tying the camels to the ground. And suddenly one boy comes running and says, master, there's a problem. And the master says, what's the problem? He says, master, we have got 100 camels, but we have got only 99 hooks. You know, one hook is missing. How do I tie the last camel? And the master says, oh, that is very simple. Don't worry. The camels are very stupid animals. You know, you tie the 99 camels, and the 100 camel, you behave or act as though you're tying to the ground. Okay. And the camel will stay there. And this boy doesn't believe the master. He says, master, how is it possible? The camel will know it is not tied. Master says, go and do what I'm saying. And you know, the boy comes, he ties all the 19 camels to the hooks, and the last camel, which didn't have the hook, he acts as though he's tying to the ground. And to his utter amazement, the camel stays put all night in that position, doesn't even move. And you know, when Swami told the story, we started laughing. And Swami says, don't laugh, you are the camels. You know, you all have got so many conditions on your mind. You You have conditioned the mind so badly. You behave in a certain manner. So once in a while, I have to come like a lion and roar to wake you up. Sometimes the roar will be very sweet roar, but sometimes it will be very challenging, very difficult, very painful. He'll slap you, you know. Life will slap. Whatever we have suddenly crumbles. And then you wake up, oh my God, what I was living. But this wake up call is very essential. So I always felt the choice was with us, either you wake up voluntarily or you get life to smack you on your face to wake you up. So with these thoughts, I pray to Bhagwan that each one of us finds fulfillment in the journey that we have towards Bhagwan. And it is not a coincidence. It is a matter of great fortune that we have under the lotus feet of a master, because life becomes much easier. Of course, you can travel. Every soul has to travel alone. But what if the travel becomes very short, meaningful, and where you are traveling with a lot of joy? So may the silence we have touched continue to echo gently within us, guiding us towards deeper awareness within ourselves, to deeper love and deeper joy, because that's the end of everything, to experience that joy. And it is so simple. All it requires is to be in the now, and it will start the first step with silence. Thank you, Sai Ram.